Pada Ramadan tahun ini, masyarakat di seluruh dunia, termasuk warga Amerika dan Indonesia, sedang bekerja, belajar dan beribadah dari rumah. Meskipun kita berjauhan secara fisik, semangat kita tetap bersama dalam menjadikan bulan suci Ramadan sebagai momen untuk refleksi. Pada Ramadan tahun ini, masyarakat di seluruh dunia, termasuk warga Amerika dan Indonesia, sedang bekerja, belajar dan beribadah dari rumah. Meskipun kita berjauhan secara fisik, semangat kita tetap bersama dalam menjadikan bulan suci Ramadan sebagai momen untuk refleksi diri dan peduli dengan sesama. Saya Heather Variava, Kuasa Usaha Ed Interim Kedubes AS, mengucapkan selamat menunaikan ibadah puasa.
Hello everyone, welcome to Ed America TV. My name is James, one of the e-guides here in Ed America, and we welcome our audience members joining us online. We hope that you're doing well and staying safe. Ed America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a solely digital platform so that you guys could enjoy us from the comforts of your own home. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comments box and our panelists will answer them in this seminar. For those of you who are joining us through Zoom, welcome. There are a couple of features that you can use to actively participate with us. You can leave your questions in the comments box section and also, you can leave them in the Q&A box section and you can use the chat box section to say hi to the panelists and the other participants. In this episode, we'll be having AMA, Ask Me Anything with EducationUSA America Advisor. But before we begin, I have a little game for everyone. Which university is holding a series of challenges to tackle the COVID-19 crisis? A, Georgia Institute of Technology, B, California Institute of Technology, C, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and D, Florida Institute of Technology. Stay tuned until the end of this event because we'll be giving a live shout out at the end of the event to the person with the correct answer on our Facebook Live comment. Other than that, don't forget to take a selfie and tag Ed America's Instagram account. Without further ado, let me introduce you to today's facilitator, Kak Fina. Kak Fina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, James. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're hanging in there.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Are you ready to start today's event?
Always ready.
All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, James. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining in. Welcome back to Ed America TV. If this is not your first time, if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Fina. I'm one of the advisors for EducationUSA based in Ed America Pacific Place. But as you may already know, we are currently going virtual. But then, of course, I'm so very excited to be able to have this kind of sessions because although some of us, if not all of us, are currently working from home, But don't worry, Education USA, we are still business as usual. So Santika and myself, we are still taking questions one-on-one. And tonight, it's not that different. It's going to be very exciting. Basically, no presentation whatsoever. We're just going to take a lot of questions from you guys. So if you have any questions, wherever you guys are watching this from, be it Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, we are also now on Instagram Live. Stay there. Although you are more than welcome to come here, join us via Zoom. You can find the information on, where you can register for Zoom on our website. We have a long time to, talk. So it's going to be very relaxed. It's going to be very lively. So let's see, what do I have here? Yeah, we actually have a number of new advisees coming in, either seeing Santika or myself, and those are people, or maybe you guys are here tonight with us. Thank you so much for joining in. But you guys are planning to study for fall 2021, and I'm actually really excited. Despite the current situation, I thought probably a lot of us kind of, maybe, I'm not gonna apply to the US, it's complicated with the current situation. But I mean, we still see a lot of you guys actually coming into Zoom, and we talk, and you guys are already ready, literally ready to apply for the 2021, gather as many questions as possible regarding the application process. And so if you guys have any questions, in the meantime, let's talk. This is what the event is about tonight. And if you guys are here for the first time and still not sure whether or not, you go to Zoom and see myself or Santika, don't worry, guys. We are a really super nice people, I believe. And we always look forward to actually meet a lot of new people. Maybe some of us are still kind of shy, not sure how to go to Zoom meeting. And then just, all of a sudden, either Santika or myself is already in Zoom. But I urge everyone, if you have any questions, or you want to move to the next steps on your application process, or maybe you just need us to convince you why you need to study in the US, let's talk, right? We are in Zoom. Again, like I said earlier, we are still business as usual. We are available every day. So Santika is available in Zoom from 1 until 5, and then I'm doing the rest from 5 until 9 p.m. So it's basically still using the America's operating hours. And so, yeah, we really welcome everybody to do that. Again, what we're going to have tonight is we cover pretty much, we're going to cover a lot of things. In fact, we already received a lot of, well, not a lot, not yet via email, but people already emailed us with a number of questions. But now that you guys are also here and maybe you have some questions, please let us know. If you're right now with us in Zoom, you're more than welcome to type your questions in the chat box, and Santika and America team will be collecting all those questions for me and for Santika to answer during the Q&A. Or maybe I'm just gonna do it back and forth. I'm gonna talk, then I'm gonna check some of the questions, and then I'm gonna talk again, and then stuff like that. And if you are watching us from other platform, you can definitely leave your questions in the comment box, and I can assure you we already have our team to collect those questions, and they will make sure that I will answer those questions. All right, so we're just going to wait for a couple of more minutes to let people coming in. Get yourself relaxed. For those of you who just break your fast, congrats. Maybe now you want to grab tea, or you want to grab a coffee. I just had my cup of coffee. Ready for the night, basically, to answer as many questions as possible. And you are more than welcome to turn also your camera if you are here with us in Zoom. And then during the Q&A, or when I allow people to ask questions. You are also more than welcome to just raise your hand. Let us know that you want to ask questions, because you are also allowed to ask questions verbally. We're going to unmute you, and then you can talk to us directly. All right. I would also, it's really interesting because we've been doing this so far for a good 1 month. So today I was just looked back on what we have done so far for the month of April, and then looking at the number of attendees here. It's just like really amazing, the kind of questions that people ask. And yeah, we actually have that we have that saved, so that we can always come back and kind of like looking at what are some of the questions that a lot of people ask. And it's just amazing. I'm looking at here some of the lists for the month of April. We pretty much like cover a lot of things, from interviewing a university representative to basically talk to us about the current situation and what the international students can expect later on, let's say for fall 2020 or maybe even for 2021. And then we have covered a specific topic on the importance of the US admission essay. If you guys want to see that again, please let us know. We are probably going to have that again in June. Back in America, before we are going digital, that's one of, if not the one event where we attract a lot of advisees. And that's also actually one of, or if not one, the one service that a lot of people actually use with EducationUSA America. And some of you who have done an advising with Santika or myself already know probably by now that I love reading essay. And in fact, right now I would say I've been talking to about 3 to 4 advisees on their essay for fall 2021. So that's really great. I know some of us think that really, like, now, why so early? But I say that there's no better time to actually start now, and so if you're still confused about like, why is this US admission essay so important? Why Fina and Santika have been talking about it like almost every time. And we're going to tell you maybe tonight in the middle of the whole discussion thing, or maybe you want to ask that. Why is it so important? We can cover that as well. And we actually did another session on, for those of you who already get accepted for fall 2020. And then we covered one topic to talk about, so what's next? Although currently the situation is like the visa office is not available and stuff like that, but we covered like when they are open. It's just like to let you guys know how straightforward and how fast the whole visa application is, especially for international students. And then we also covered like the importance of TOEFL, and TOEFL we covered, Santika covered differences between TOEFL and IELTS. We also covered GRE and GMAT, the scores that you might want to aim if you want to study to highly selective US universities. We can cover that as well tonight. So kind of like the way I look at it is pretty much like what we've covered, we can kind of like revisit it and tonight. But then of course the whole idea for tonight is AMA, ask me anything, ask Santika and I pretty much like anything that you want to know, right? And then of course, please stay tuned to our upcoming event tomorrow. It's very exciting. I really look forward. We will talk with one of the Indonesians incoming students for fall 2020, but he will probably going to defer. We're going to hear more about that from him. He already secured the scholarship. He already got accepted to Columbia University, and then we will hear from him his journey, his application journey, and how did he find the Education USA helpful. So next week is also very exciting because we see that the majority of you guys who are watching this, our program so far with Education USA at America, are those who want to study master's and PhD. So next week, I am basically going to talk about everything you need to know when it comes to master's degree and PhD study in the US. And then same week, next week, we're also going to talk about everything about scholarship. So we invite those of you guys who are still in high schools, wanting to study bachelor's degree in the US, and maybe some of you want to know some of like the scholarships opportunities. But then we're also definitely going to visit some of the funding options for you guys who wants to study master's degree. And we have like a really some really good news for those of you who wants to do PhD in the US. So yeah, those are just kind of like some idea of the kind of programs that we've been doing, and we are going to have it in the next coming of weeks. I'm very hopeful that we can go back to America very soon, and hopefully we can also open for public again, so that I can see people, like meet you guys like in person. We can come back running an event from America. So that's that. And I would also like to introduce my colleague Santika. I've mentioned her a couple of times now. So for those of you, if this is your first time, there are two of us with Education USA at America. So Santika will basically cover who we are, what is Education USA, what are we doing here, why are we, urge everyone to talk to us. So Santika, how are you?
Hi, Fina. I'm really good, and I'm very excited to have our first AMA ever. So I'm quite excited to see what kind of questions we will have today. And thank you so much for covering, a lot of things that we have done and what we will do, especially for tomorrow. It will be me having an interview with one of the successful students who got LPDP and accepted to one of the highly selective university in the United States. He have a very good journey, and I wish people can, come in and watch and get inspired and fired up, and after that, of course, come and see us, Fina or me, to, Santika, Fina, can you review our essay? Can you take a look at my CV or resume? How do I get a good letter of recommendations? Those are the top FAQs that we always get, and we are gladly giving you answers and tips for that. So yeah, before we start, now that we have more and more attendees coming in, I want to let you know to stay tuned. You can turn on your video if you want to, and you can use the chat box to ask questions or interact with other people here. If you're not in Zoom, you are in YouTube or our website or the Twitter or the Instagram Live. If you have questions, you can just type it in the comment box and send it. And our team will pass it on to Fina and me, so we can answer that in the Q&A section later on after we finish talking. So yeah, for those of you who just started to attend our events, Education USA events at America, and you're wondering what is Education USA and everything, right? So I'm here to tell you that we are a U.S. Department of State. We network over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. So in Indonesia alone, we have 8 centers in total of 10 advisors. I'm going to tell you where we are in, all of the centers in cities in Indonesia, so you can refer anyone who wants to start planning their studies for free to reach out to one of the center and one of the advisor, or not 2 of the advisors, as much as you want. So we have 2 centers in Jakarta, as Fina have mentioned and I mentioned. We are located, one of the center is located in at America. It's an American center located in Pacific Place Mall in Jakarta. So there's Vina and me there for every day, and we're never closed. And next one is in U.S. Embassy Jakarta. We have David and Iqbal there for the advisors. And if we move to Surabaya, we also have 2 centers there. One in the U.S. Consulate General. We have Husky there. And next one is in Universitas Erlangga, UNER. We have Mbak Amber there. And moving on to Malang, we have one center in Universitas Muhammadiyah. We have Zaki there. And in Medan, we are in U.S. Consulate Medan. We have Jeffrey. And in Makassar, we have Universitas Fajar. We have Cendani in Makassar. So last but not least, in Banda Aceh, we are located in Universitas Islam Negeri, UIN Araniri. We have Lilis there who will be glad to assist anyone who wants to, try to plan their study to United States. So all of us, 10 of us in Indonesia and 8 centers. So I think it's very fascinating how people came to us, and they have the same goal to study to United States, but the way that they have to go through, or the journey that they have to go through, is very unique. And that's why we never get bored of meeting new advisees, or meeting new people who say they want to go to US to study, because it's always new to us. And no matter how many essays Vina and me read, it's the same. So every essay that we read is very unique, and there's no same essay that came to us, and if there is, then it's a good indicator that you need to rewrite your essay. So next but not, I will tell you the step-by-step on how to plan your studies, and how we guide each advisee to plan their studies to US. So there are 5 steps. The first step is researching your options. This is where you try to find out what kind of program and major that you want to do. And on the second step, it's financing your studies. So this is where you figure out if you want to apply for scholarship, what are the available options, and how do you plan your application for the scholarship, and then get the scholarship. And the third one is very, very crucial and important as well. It's completing your application, which is to the university. This is one of the most, favorite service that all advisees ask from Vina and me, and other advisees as well. So here we can review your essay or your CV or resume, and you can ask us about, like I said, the letter of recommendation and standardized test, and all of the things that's related to your application to United States universities. And the fourth one is applying for your student visa. So this is when you already got accepted by any universities, and you want to apply for your student visa, and you need the guidance on step-by-step. We are here for you. And the last step, the fifth one, is preparing for your departure. We make annual events called pre-departure orientation, where we invite everyone who you're going this year, and also some alumni and embassy officials to congratulate you guys and everything, giving you guys more in-depth explanation on what you need to prepare before you actually go to United States. So these kind of things is very kind of like wrapping up your last step to go to United States. So from step 1 until 5, everything we do here is actually to guide you, and you don't have to do them in order. So, but we do recommend you start from the step 1 to make sure that you don't miss anything. But if you have questions, like your first time here, and you have questions on, any step from 1 until 5, we are gladly to help you to answer those questions. All right, that's from me, and I think we will have, because we already have a lot more attendees right now, and I am going to check with Vina. Vina, if you want to do the polling soon or later on.
Oh yes, we can actually do the polling now. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
And while you were talk a little bit about EducationUSA, there are already a couple of questions coming in, so I'm just gonna copy pasted on the Excel sheet, just making sure that I will cover that. So give me 1 second here. All right, and Pauline, so you guys, let's do something fun. We have like some polling questions here because we want to get to know you guys more. So there will be like a couple of questions. There is no right or wrong answer whatsoever. Basically, we just want to know your desired level of study and stuff like that. So Santika, can we pull up the polling?
Yes. Launching the poll. Get ready.
Yes.
All right. Can you guys?
And then yes, so we're going to give you a couple of probably just like 1 minute to answer this question. The first question is we want to know the desired level of study that you guys want to do. We got bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, or maybe you're not planning to study in the US, but you want us to convince you to study in the US. Let us know. And as you guys already know as well, or maybe you guys have not heard, with EducationUSA, basically our expertise is in assisting people who want to study higher education. So higher education means above high schools. So for you guys who want to study S1, S2, S3, talk to us and we'll be happy to help you. The second question is we also want to know when do you plan to start your study? We have fall 2020 here, but probably if you are just about to start the application for fall 2020, maybe it's already past the deadline, but maybe some of you guys are here in the, joining us in Zoom, already receive a letter of acceptance, or you already get accepted and you are here to hear more about what are we going to do with the visa and stuff like that. We can cover that as well. But maybe some of you wants to study for fall 2021. This is again the perfect time to start. Or maybe you're not sure yet. Maybe you just kind of like still try to gather as many information as possible about studying in the US. That's why you guys are here. We also want to see that, and of course we also want to know where are you currently watching this event from, because the past events is really interesting that we actually had a number of you guys watching from outside the Jabodetabek area. So I think I found it really interesting knowing that you guys, so far away from where we are now, but you're still tuning in to our events. So because then again, in America, we're not just, helping or assisting you guys who live in Jakarta. We're pretty much everywhere, right? And we actually learned so much since we are going digital. We have not done any Zoom advising session before we are, going digital. So now, like when we are back to America, I would love to, still be able to use Zoom meeting and maybe, talk to you guys who are not living, who do not living in Jakarta or the Jakarta area. And we also want to know if you guys have done any advising with us, either in person, maybe before we went digital, or maybe virtual with us, or maybe you have not done any advising, but you would love to start an advising session. All right, so I think we can just end the poll.
And
cool.
share.
And then can we share the results so then you guys can also see the majority or see some of the answers.
There you go. It's shared.
Is it shared?
Yes.
Cool. So we got 2 people are in the house who want to study bachelor's degree. Great. Please ask us a lot of questions about anything S1, right? But we can definitely see that the majority of you guys are here for the S2, which is interesting. The majority of our advisors are actually want to study master's degree. We got 2 people who want to do PhD. Great. The majority of you guys want to study for fall 2021. Perfect. This is like the perfect timing for you guys to start. Some of you want to study for later term, maybe 2022. Some of you also pretty much like not sure yet. If you need some convincing, we'll be happy to do that. Look at that. 57% of you guys are actually in the Jabodetabek area. But then we also have a good number of you guys coming from outside Jabodetabek. And then we got a couple from Sumatra and Sulawesi. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining, and really appreciate you coming in here and joining us. And interesting, the majority of you guys actually have not done any advising. Great. I really look forward to talk to you guys. So please, Santika will keep, putting some our Zoom ID. Trust me, you don't have to feel like malu-malu or anything like that. Just simply go to Zoom ID between 1 until 9. If there is no advising session going on, we will definitely let you guys in. If we do have an advising session going on, we're going to let you know in the chat box. Either you want to wait or you want to come back, like a little bit later. But okay, we can stop the polling. We can stop sharing the polling. It's really good to know. Now I got a better idea of where you guys are watching this from and stuff like that. I just want to check real quick. A number of you guys in Zoom are asking questions privately to me because I need to kind of like focusing on looking at the camera and stuff like that. So if you can actually copy paste that question again and then share it with everybody, so then Santika can actually see that question as well. I'm talking about blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. We got Sahril Kasim. If you are watching this, can you please copy paste your question again and share it with everybody here? We have Raisa as well asking about the CSS profile or the financial aid for S1. And then we got Dinda Adisti. Please also share the questions publicly.
Right.
All right.
So
Okay.
to add a bit on, Fina's announcement that you need to send the questions to everyone. So don't be shy. All of us here is, going to learn. And when you ask questions, it's going to be, the most of the chances your question is also other people's question. So when you ask this question to everyone, it's just like, it's a good thing. So you don't have to be shy or anything. Just put it on for everyone, and I will be in the chat box to try to answer and let you know that we got your question. And yeah, Fina will continue with her presentation.
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk. You know what? Like, I actually have some of the questions on my note here. I'm looking at 18 questions, but I will also focusing on some of the questions that you guys are already type in for us. But I would like to start with something. I'm not gonna spend too long on this, but just wanna give you like the first few steps that you may want to do if you want to see either Santika or myself. So I think it was last week when we covered the 5 steps of US study. So Santika covered that earlier. There are 5. The first one is research your options. So basically, in research your options, there are a lot of things going on. When you start contacting myself or Santika, but then you don't have to worry about the session being kind of like me doing some kind of like an interview. It will be like this. It will be very relaxed. It will be very lively. Basically, when you first coming in, because the thing is, there are a lot of people kind of like, they're not sure how to approach Santika or myself. So a lot of people kind of like emailing us, asking, like, hey, I would like to talk with one of the advisors, but what should I prepare? So technically, you don't have to prepare anything. You don't have to like show me anything. You can basically just like, just like talk to us. And some people, they do have like like an Excel sheet where they list some of the some of the universities that they're interested in going. Maybe they already, did, like a lot of research. something like, okay, so I want to apply for 5 campuses, and then these are the TOEFL requirements, and these are the GRE, and they are asking for GRE. Maybe other universities asking for GMAT and stuff like that. But you don't have to be on that level yet. You can basically just come in and see us when you are still like on a very basic step, or maybe you don't know anything about, like, you don't know where to start and you want to know. And so basically we urge and we encourage people from any kind of level of knowledge about studying in the US. So you don't have to worry about it, right? And so yeah, and like I said earlier, there's actually a lot of things going on in step 1, where before we're moving on to step 2 and 3 being, you know, like completing your applications. Before we're going there, I'm going to kind of like understand you better. I would like to see your profile. And the first thing that we're going to check is going to be like, where are you in your English? Because once we're going to step 3, we are going to dive into English territory. Step 3 is when everything has to be in English. So basically, we want to kind of like have a conversation in step 1, telling me or Santika, how are you comfortable? How are you confident in your English? It doesn't mean that you have to take the official TOEFL or IELTS, because as we already know that, you know, it costs a lot. So you will want to take it only when you are ready. But just let us know, like, you know, just on top of your mind, like, how are you comfortable in using English, not just speaking, but also writing, reading, and listening and stuff like that. And we're going to take a look at what is your intention here. Like, why do you want to study master's degree? So, and I'm asking this question not only to help you through the application process itself, but it will help me to really know you better personally. You know, so because when you actually apply to US universities, they are using a somewhat personal approach, and that's basically what I'm doing here as well. Like, I literally want to know you personally, right? So this is when you are welcome to share as many information as possible. All right. So you know what? I would like to check on our questions list. Oh wow, we actually have a lot. I love it. Hopefully we can cover this. So, Santika, is there anything or any specific question that I should start, or should I just start from the beginning?
So, yeah, I think I will answer the very basic one from Sahril or Shahril here. From Sahril Kasim in Zoom. So his question is, hello, I'm wondering how to register as an advisee. Is there any particular procedure to follow? So that's a very good question. We love that question. And the answer is no, you don't have to register anything. You just need to contact us or just join us in Zoom from, between 1 until 9 p.m. I will provide the email and the Zoom ID in the chat box. And for those of you who are not in Zoom, of course, you cannot see the chat box. So here I am. I'm going to read it for you. So our email is jakarta.apamerica@educationusa.org, or join us in Zoom meeting from 1 until 9 p.m. except when we are doing this kind of events. The meeting ID is 276-124-396. And if you are too shy to drop by to the Zoom and meet Vina and me directly, you can just shoot us an email first and see if you can connect with us before having face-to-face. All right, and everything is free, and you don't need to particularly start from any step. So you can come to us with any question as long as it's to study to US. All right, I hope that answers the question, and I will give it to Vina.
All right, cool. We actually have plenty of questions here. I'm very excited. So we may kind of like the topic might be all over the place, the one that we're going to cover, depending on the questions here. So, but hopefully, maybe feel free to take notes and stuff like that. But I would like to start with Katya Priyanka. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. Katya, I think you are here in Zoom and you actually emailed us, and thank you so much for emailing us your questions and being here as well tonight with us. But Katya here is asking, could you please explain to me how WES work? Do I need to send my original transcript to the team, or is there any way I could do? So there are 2 questions from you, but I'm going to start with question number 1 as well. So what is WES? WES is a third-party organization. It stands for World Education Service. So basically, what they're doing is they are going to evaluate an international transcript so that it can be equivalent to the US standard. So I see that not all universities will ask you to do this kind of evaluation, but when there is one university, then we definitely have to do it. So WES is actually one of many other third parties who are basically providing this kind of services, where you're going to mail your official transcript, and here you're basically asking, do I need to send my original transcript? So this is the thing that a lot of us kind of like confused when, for example, WES or even the university is requiring us to submit our original transcript, and a lot of us thought that it has to be like our only original transcript, but no, that's not what we want to send them. The only original one, you may want to keep it, and you don't want to mail it because they're not going to send it back. So what they means by original transcript, or they usually call it official transcript, it means that in Bahasa, I'm just gonna say it, it's ijazah yang sudah dilegalisir dari kampus. So it's a copy of your transcript, but it got stamped by the campus, and then it has to be inside an envelope by the campus. And I believe that WES allows you to mail it in 2 different ways. Either the campus will directly send it to the office. I think WES is in New York, if I'm not mistaken. Or you are also allowed to send it to their office, but it has to be the hard copy. So to answer that question, no, you don't have to submit your only original transcript, but it's going to be your the official transcript. So what you want to do now is contacting the university and ask for that, and basically tanya mereka ijazah yang sudah dilegalisir. They should understand that, right? And the second question is, I'm planning to apply for strategic communication in Columbia University this year. I am currently working on my statement of academic purpose. Statement of purpose is the essay, but apparently there's also a video essay. So the question is about video essay. Could you please advise what should I talk on my video essay? That's a really good question. Again, it's not something that every department, every programs in the US will ask you to do video essay, but it's not surprising if you want to study some kind of like programs that really require you to talk, because here you want to study strategic communication. So it's not surprising that the university will ask you to do a video essay. One of the reasons why they ask you to submit a video essay is because they really want to see how you are, because they want to picture you being in the campus, and they want to really get to know you on the next level, because like when you're submitting everything, they are not able to meet with you in person. That's why there are actually a number of programs as well. For example, like MBA, where they're like usually the last few steps would be doing like an interview, because they want to do it very personally. They want to know you better. So to answer your question, could you please advise what should I talk on my video essay? It has to it depends on if they actually ask you question. Let us know if you want to do some like a one-on-one advising. Sometimes they actually have a specific topic, not necessarily question. specific topic that they want you to cover. Maybe kind of like, talk a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in that specific program. So please let us know if they actually have a question about that. Oftentimes, so far I have not, because I have some advisors in the past where the university is asking for video essay, but all of them actually have like instruction on what should be in the video essay. There are also two types of video essay. There is one where they allow you to record pre-recording, so you can like take practice, and then you can be as natural as possible. But then there's also another type of video essay where this is gonna be kind of like what do you call it, a bit scary in a way. Or maybe this is why you asked this question, because there's one where they don't tell you the questions, but then you have to click the link, and then when you open it, they will give you a couple of seconds, probably like a minute, to kind of like prepare. You're going to see the questions, and then you have to prepare in 1 minute or so, and then you will have to talk right, like directly. So maybe that's what you have. Let us know. But then if yes, you can kind of like found some of possible questions from previous academic years. And although there's no guarantee that they're going to ask the same thing, but at least you get the idea on what to say. And then the good news is that we can actually also do a kind of like a mock interview here with Santika or myself. And with video essay, I don't see how it's different. So we can, you can come to Santika or myself where you come, bring a list of questions, and then you just talk to me, and then I'll give you some feedback on how you're doing in the video essay. But something that I can say with video essay is you want to look as natural as possible. All right, let's continue talking about this, Katya, in one-on-one session. But I hope I answer your questions, and maybe this is also a questions that other people wanna ask as well. I'm gonna move on to the next one. We got Dinda Adiasti here. Hopefully, you're also watching this session. I really want to know about how to apply scholarship for master's degree in education major. What are the conditions? What about the procedure? What should I prepare? I really hope I can study more about school management, curriculum, education policy, etc. I also a bit confused to choose which campus that suit my best interest. So these are the type of questions where we want to talk in a very basic step when you are meeting me or Santika. We are going to kind of like, I'm actually going to ask you a lot of questions in this case. Why? So you said here you want to study education major, but why do you want to study more on like the management, curriculum, and education policy? I want to hear more about it. But to quickly answer your question is the general requirements when it comes to applying to U.S. universities in the master's degree level is you will want to submit your transcript. You also want to submit your standardized tests such as TOEFL or IELTS. It depends on the universities. TOEFL is 100% accepted by the US because it's an American English and it's come from the US. IELTS is a British English, but we actually see a lot of universities in the US allow applicants to also submit IELTS. And then another standardized test that you want to pay attention is there is a GRE or GMAT. GMAT is a standardized test exclusively for people who want to study business, although we also see some other programs outside business that also allow people to take GMAT. But GRE is the one that is very common. So transcript, we got TOEFL or IELTS, we got GRE or GMAT, or if you're still in high school and you want to study for 2 4-year universities, there's going to be SAT or ACT. And then you're going to also submit your resume or CV, depending on the university as well. There is also letters of recommendation. And then last but not least, we also have the essay. So the one that you're going to pay attention more is going to be your English standardized test, which is either TOEFL or IELTS, and then the GRE or GMAT if they require that, and then your essay. The rest, I would say, is a bit what was the word I'm looking for? It's administrative, like your transcript, and then your resume is something that we can work on that together really quickly. And letters of recommendation is something that you're not supposed to write it, but you just need to pay attention more on who do you think should write the letter of recommendation. Okay, and so these are and basically all these requirements. Anything that you need help with, let us know. But again, something that the majority of people use our service on is the essay. The good news, since you're mentioning education major for master's degree, is that a lot of universities now in the US is no longer asking people who wants to study education to submit the standardized tests, aka GRE. So for those of you who want to study education, good news. You may want to look, maybe if you're not, if you don't want to take GRE, it's fair enough. There are actually some people who are actually hunting for campuses in the US that do not ask for GRE. So, but yeah, it's something that I can share with you. Now more and more education related topic program, is not requiring you to submit your GRE. All right. I really hope that answers your question. I think the next step would be talk to Santika or myself, and then I would like to know you better. I would like to know you more on what is your intention here, what is your goal, because that will be reflected on your essay. Okay. We got Jogja Tours Adventures. It's from Instagram. Hello, I would like to, hopefully you're still watching us. Hello, I would like to ask if I was graduated from Universitas Terbuka, would it be possible if I continue my master in US university? So as long as Universitas Terbuka is accredited, terakreditasi, which I believe it is. I check with just making sure with the team here, and it is terakreditasi, and you actually do receive your transcript, your final ijazah. I don't see why not, because for us to study in the US, you will have to have a transcript. So as long as you have that from whichever university, you will be able to do that. And this is kind of like also something that I would like to share with you guys, because a lot of us thought, oh, if I want to study to good universities in the US, I have to graduate it from the top universities in Indonesia. I don't think my university, a university that not a lot of people know, I don't think the US will accept me because of that. That's not true. And the US university, for them, as long as you graduated from an accredited university, wherever that is in the country, you have a chance to study in the US. All right. We got Made Swastika Natanegara here asking from YouTube. Nice. Hopefully you're still watching this. Is it possible for students who do national curriculum to pursue bachelor's degree in the US? The short answer is, why not? Definitely yes. I know there are actually a lot of type of curriculum when it comes to high school education here in Indonesia. We got national curriculum, we got national plus, we got international curriculum, we got Cambridge, we got like tons of other type of international curriculum. But the one question that a lot of people kind of are concerned, if I'm just joining national curriculum, can I still study in the US? Absolutely. And I can definitely assure you on that. I don't know what Santika's high school curriculum was, but myself, I graduated with a national curriculum and I studied in the US just fine. So again, it's just, just as long as you have like an accredited, you graduated from an accredited school, wherever you are in Indonesia, wherever you are in the world, you are still able to pursue your bachelor's degree in the US for sure. All right. Yeah, Santika, do you want to add something? Or
So yeah, when you mentioned you don't know what high school curriculum I had, it's actually a very interesting one. So I'm going to share a bit about my high school curriculum. So I had Australian curriculum. That's surprising. So I had this high school certificate. It's called HSC. It's from I think it's affiliated with UNSW or something, but it's from Australia. And I got that HSC already, and I graduated as Australian way. And I decided, because I want to go to United States, I go ahead and take UN. So I had two high school certificate, and I'm only using one of them to go to US. And either one will be fine. So as long as it's accredited and you finish high school, I think there's no problem in that. Right.
Good to know. Good to know. Cool.
So yeah, Vina, we have the next question is, I think, from Raisha, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm curious. So Raisha is here asking. I'm curious about admission deadline. What should I take? Early action, early decision, early regular decision, and what's the difference? Oh, I love this question. So when you're looking for some universities, you may kind of like notice that they offer you a different type of deadlines. I can already tell here that Raisha here is interested in studying for S1 for bachelor's degree, because if you are here, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about master's degree, just in case, since the majority of you guys are here for master's degree. For master's degree, there is some, usually there's a regular decision deadline. Regular deadline is just regular. I mean, they give you a specific deadline. But for master's degree, there's also, for example, like MBA, they have like a number of rounds. Round 1, round 2, round 3. There's also what they call rolling admission. But with S1, for high school students, there's also another type of deadlines. It's called early action or early decision. So I know a lot of people kind of like found it really confusing, like what this different type of deadline means, like, and which one should you actually do. So I will try to cover this for both bachelor's degree and master's degree. So early action, I have not heard early action deadline for master's degree, so this doesn't really applicable to you. But early action is the type of, or maybe, you know what, I may be wrong. I think there is a number of universities for master's degree that ask for early action. But anyway, so early action deadline means that it's a binding type of deadline. What does that mean? That means, so for example, you are applying to a University of A, and University of A offered early action deadline. That means once they give you the result, you are binded. You have to take it. You have to take that university. So this is really good for those of you where that specific university where they offer the early action is your number one choice, right? And then the next question would be, so what happened when you are applying for an early action and then you decided not to take it? You don't want to do it. You don't really want to do it because that will look really bad. We can say that they are, going to mark your name, and let's say you want to, kind of like apply to that university in the future or something like that, they will most likely not going to have you anymore, because then you kind of like violate the agreement, right? So only apply for an early action if you know that that is going to be the university that you're going to take the offer when you get accepted. All right. Early decision. Well, I mean, just like what it's called, is just, like the type of deadline where it's early compared to the regular decision. So what does that mean? So for example, if you want to study for fall 2021, a lot of the regular decision will start sometime like at the end of the year, like November and December are the ones that being like it's very common for the regular decision. Early decision can be so early, like way earlier. So sometimes like in summer or at the end of summer. And then early decision is also means that as long as you are quite certain that your overall application is strong, meaning we're talking about you have good GPA, you have good SAT or GRE score, and you have like you know that you have like a really strong resume. Not for you if you're still in high school. Some of the universities are asking for resume, but and then you know that the recommenders who are going to write you a letter of recommendation is going to be great. And then and last but not least, you know that you have a very strong essay. You want to apply for an early decision. So early decision deadline is, you know, when the university is basically do some kind of like a cut off, meaning that they will only pick those who are very, very strong, pretty much like everything, right? So it doesn't mean that regular decision, if you apply for regular decision, you will have last chance. Oftentimes, I like to tell my advisees that only apply for early decision when you know that you have a really strong profile. And if you're not sure whether or not you have a strong profile or not, let us know. Share with us everything, like your GPA and everything, right? But regular decision, it's just regular. The majority of people, like in the US, a lot of them actually apply for a regular decision because, like I said earlier, early decision sometimes it's, you know, like the deadline is right after people spend their summer and they may not have time to actually, you know, like do SAT over summer, stuff like that. That is also kind of like maybe why a lot of international students take this for granted because, well, technically we don't really have like a summer break. Although, you know, sometimes like the break for schools are pretty much like the same during summer in the US. But I see that a lot of us here actually find it fine to actually work on your SAT or stuff like that during the summer. So that's that. Regular decision again is just like, you know, the regular type of deadline. It means that so for example, they have the deadline in the regular deadline in December 15. It means that you don't have to apply in October. You don't have to submit your application in October. You can if you want, but you don't have to because even though you're submitting your application in October, they're not going to review your application until after the deadline. This is what a regular deadline means. Pretty similar with the early decision as well. So you can technically submit the application a day before the deadline. It's different than rolling admission. So there's another type of deadlines called rolling admission. Rolling admission means that they don't have like a specific deadline. So you can actually submit your transcript whenever. And then instead of they are reviewing your application on a specific date, they are going to review your application right away after they receive your application. So yeah, it's really good. A lot of people actually do, you know, look for campuses with rolling admissions because that means they can apply for campus as late as possible before the program starts. But then we also want to avoid that because think about it. If a lot of people think that way, so that means there are actually a lot of people applying for rolling admission. And what does that mean? That means your chance will be really, really slim, right? So that's that. I hope I answer your question, Raisha. Then you also ask here about, I have a question about financial application. Where to submit financial aid app? Is it through Css Profile or University Portal? So financial aid is kind of like, this is also applicable for those of you who want to study master's degree, asking me about, you know, we got a lot of questions asking about scholarship. So financial aid is kind of like the umbrella of everything that is related to receiving funding from the university. So financial aid being the umbrella, and then below financial aid, there are a number of different type of scholarship. They can give you merit-based scholarship or financial aid, financial-based scholarship. They have presidential scholarship. There are a whole lot of other type of scholarship. In this case, if you are planning to study for a university and then they have this financial, they offer you financial aid, it will be depend on the university. Sometimes you can just apply directly to the campus. Usually they have like a different type of deadline for those of you who wants to be considered scholarship by the campus. Sometimes it can be, the deadline can be a bit early, or maybe they have some kind of like an additional essay for you to write. And then they're going to review it, and then if you get accepted, it will be up to them whether or not they will give you the scholarship right away, or maybe not. But then once you are in the universities and then you actually do really good for the first 2 semesters, they may offer you some scholarship. And then you mentioned here about Css Profile. So Css Profile is, it will take a lot of time for you to submit the Css Profile. It's basically a platform for people who wants to also apply for a scholarship only on the undergrad level. So for those of you who are watching this right now for master's degree, this is not for you guys. This is only for high school students. So with the Css Profile, to be completely honest with you, I have not worked with any advisee so far with Css Profile. It's just that the whole process can be quite confusing, and just it will take a lot of time. Like they will ask you questions like your parents' tax income and stuff like that, because usually the kind of scholarship that they are giving out is for those under the finance aid type of scholarship. So meaning that as long as they understand better that yes, your family income is less than what they are required to have for them to to give you the scholarship, then you can be granted. So yeah, if I hope that answers as well. If you want to, discuss this more, we can definitely do that during a one-on-one advising. So Santika, how are we doing so far?
So yeah, we only have about 30 minutes left, and we still have plenty of questions. So
Woo, I have to do it really quick then.
So if I can kind of like trying to categorize the question, I'm looking at MBA for the scholarship, and then PhD, and then standardized test. Yeah, that's 3 topics for the rest of 30 minutes. And we can start with Yustian. His question is for MBA. I'm currently holding a master degree. Is there any scholarship for me to pursue MBA degree? Based on the FAQ and Fulbright and LPDP website, I am ineligible to get scholarship because I hold a master degree before, or he already have master degree. Can he still apply? So
yeah. All right. Thank you so much for the question. And MBA degree, MBA study is definitely one of the very popular topics that our advisees are approaching us and ask. And I hate to share this rather not good news, because when it comes to MBA, there's actually not a lot of funding available. So at this point, I would definitely rely on outside the campus type of scholarship. So although unfortunately here, you're not eligible for Fulbright or LPDP because you already got a master's degree before, and that's true. If you want to apply for Fulbright and LPDP, they definitely prioritize people who have not done any master's degree before. But yeah, what I can share with you, I'm sorry, but unfortunately there's actually not a lot of funding available for MBA, but it doesn't mean that there is none. So for example, like Harvard University, not necessarily a scholarship, but they actually give out loans, including international students. So a lot of people start asking me, what do I think about taking loans? If you ask me personally, I'm not gonna take loans. I mean, that's like it's just really nice. That's really nice, but that would be like my super very last option. It's just that all of us know that studying in the U.S. It's costly, and so unless you actually see yourself end up working in the U.S., probably the ROI or return of investment probably quite fast. But if you're coming back to Indonesia, that would be kind of like tricky. But doesn't mean that there is actually no scholarship. So for example, like Duke University in North Carolina, they actually have an MBA scholarship. So you want to check that out. We don't have like a full database or full list on what universities offered scholarship, but we shared with you what we know. And what you can do is to like do a lot of research on that, especially if the university actually offer funding. But yeah, so far what we know is majority of our advisees when it comes to MBA study, it's from an LPDP, right?
Okay, next question is from Hari Cahyadi. His question is, need suggestion on what I should do and prepare for a PhD in NPS.
Yeah, and what is NPS again?
He did not share the.
I want to register NPS. But maybe NPS is some kind of like a program. But anyway, so the question is about PhD. Definitely something that we're going to talk more in depth next week. But what I can share with you real quick is that if you want to study PhD, really, really consider the US, because and you don't have to worry about like applying for scholarship from outside the US, because the good news is if you want to study PhD in the US, the majority of the campus, the majority of the programs will grant you a grant. Will grant you, like they will usually waive you from paying the tuition, and then in return, because you're basically going to work with one or two professors or one or two faculty members there, and the way they look at it is more like you're working for the university. Although, of course, it goes both ways. It's win-win situation for both parties, not just for the universities, but also for you, depending on what kind of research that you want to do. So the way they look at it is kind of like almost that you're going to work for the university. So in return, they're going to actually give you, they don't really call it salary, but they will, they will pay you. That is actually enough for you to pay your monthly expenses like apartment or house and accommodation and all that. Right. And also another good news is that in the US, there are actually a lot of programs where you can go directly to do PhD from bachelor's degree. And we've actually seen a number of people go that route. So, for example, we got one Indonesian who attended one of our events a couple of weeks ago, and he shared with us that he already got accepted doing PhD. And then I asked, "Oh, where did you do your master's?" And then he said, "Oh, I haven't done my master's." And then he said, "I found this program in the US where it's eligible for people with a bachelor's degree, go all the way to PhD." And then the beauty of that is the universities. He got accepted to like 4 or 5 universities in the US, and then pretty much like almost all of the campuses will give him some sort of funding. It's just that when you want to do PhD in the US, you're talking about a minimum of 4 years. It can go all the way from 4 to 7 years. I know it sounds crazy, but that's like what PhD program looks like in the US. So there's a lot of planning to do. Like if you have a family, for example, are you ready to actually bring them to the US and spend that amount of years in the US? But it's actually really nice if you are still single and then you get to actually do PhD, do a lot of research, something that you really, really want to do, and then live in the US for that long. So yeah, So hopefully I answered that question. In terms of like what should you do and prepare is pretty much like the same what I mentioned earlier when I covered Raisha's, or it's not like other question. But yeah, mostly it's still the transcript. And then, you know, like resume, letter of recommendation, TOEFL or IELTS, and then sometimes they will still ask you for GRE and GMAT. What with PhD, they have like some, you know, they may waive for the GRE and GMAT, meaning that you don't have to take GRE and GMAT for, let's say, for those of you who have been in a workforce for a certain amount of years. So it's always depend on the university for sure. And what is different with PhD applicants compared to those who want to do masters is that you definitely want to have a research proposal. That's kind of like the number one thing that you need to have. So you know, like when people coming in and then they, you know, like ask me that, hey, I want to study PhD, what should I prepare? The first question that I ask is, do you have your research proposal? Because that's something that you want to start communicate more with the professors. You don't have to, but that's very common when you want to take PhD in the US. It's more about like personal approach. So I'm going to talk more about that next week. Contacting professors, how to contact the professor, how to get the information of the faculty members or professors. What should I write in the first email and stuff like that? We're going to cover that next week. But I hope I kind of like give you a better idea for now on what to prepare when you want to do PhD.
So yes, for Yustian, please sign up for next week's event because that's more in depth on your answer for the PhD. Sorry, Mas Hari, not Mas Yustian. And next question is from Facebook, Fina. It's from Siti. Her question is research option. So for the step 1, we said researching your options. And her question is, do you have any recommendation of the website to choose the best options? Yeah, so that's a basic question, but I think that's quite important to answer.
Do you have any recommendation of the website to choose for the best option? Do you mean like looking for the right university? Yeah, if you want to clarify with us, let us know, and then maybe we can do one-on-one session with this question. But assuming that your question would be how to, you know, some recommendation on where to find the right university, that's actually a really good question. Hopefully that's the question that you ask. So oftentimes when we want to study in the US, so for example, like I'm assuming right now all of you guys who are watching the sessions are already in a position where I know I want to study in the US, right? But maybe some of you do not know what are the campuses that you should apply. Maybe some of you already know. So oftentimes, if not all the time, we only want to apply for a university that we've heard the most. I don't have to name what are those universities, but one that we've heard the most, you know, the one that is quite popular here in Indonesia or like everywhere you go. I'm not saying that you shouldn't apply to that university, but that's not exactly how I would choose the university based on just the name of the campus. So I'm not a big fan. I mean, Santika and we are not a big fan of looking at just for a general ranking of universities that we've heard the most. But do I still use ranking? The answer is yes. It's just that something that I can share with you guys is that there is no official ranking from the US government whatsoever. There is no official ranking system. So basically, all those ranking universities that you see or hear online is basically from a third-party organization. So when you're looking for the right university, I will rely on the ranking based on the program that you want to study. Because it's easy for you to just do it right now if you want. Just Google it, top US university or world top university, and then you will see that the majority are coming from the US. And a lot of people kind of like just stuck with that, whatever on that list. but that's not really exactly how I tell people to do. What do you want to do is type the program that you want to do. So for example, you want to study international relations, and then you want to know the ranking for international relations program. So you want to type in international relations, master's degree, US university. You can play around with the keyword, but that's kind of like the example here. And then from there, you will realize that there are actually a lot of other type of ranking, and it's coming from like a third-party organization, like foreign policy, like a website called Foreign Policy and stuff like that, where they conduct their own ranking system. And then you want to open that list, and then you want to maybe make a note on that list. But then it doesn't mean that whatever is number one on that list is the right university for you. No, we just want to get an idea that, oh, so these are the universities that are pretty good. We can say fair to say that they are pretty good in international relations. And then what you want to do after that is go to the universities one by one, and yes, it has to be done that way, and that means you will have to spend a lot of times understanding each program, and then from there try to understand better for each program, because international relations at University of A compared to international relations from campus B that is listed number 10, for example, might be best for you compared to universities that is listed number 1, because you realize that, oh, they offer a concentration in where that concentration is exactly what I want to do in international relations program. So that is like a one way, or maybe I want to say like the best way for you to really know what would be the right university for you. I know it sounds kind of like confusing. If this is kind of like your first time, maybe it's a lot to take in. Don't worry, that's what we are here for. If you want to continue one-on-one on this, let us know. Yep.
Okay. So next up we have Neta. She is going to ask us directly by turning on her video and unmuting her microphone so she can ask question about standardized tests to Fina directly. Hi, Neta.
Awesome.
Hello. Is Neta here? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we're going to unmute. Yeah.
Already unmute, but okay, there you go. Hi, Neta.
Hi, good evening, Fina and Santika. Thank you very much for the very insightful session. I'm just going to be quick, considering the time restriction. I would like to ask about the standardized test. I asked about 2 standardized tests. The first one is whether it's better to take TOEFL rather than IELTS if you want to go to US universities, and whether you can actually use IELTS to apply to US universities. That's one. And the second one is about GRE. I heard that in US universities, especially in grad school, they don't actually, they're not very strict with scores and numbers, but they rather take into account like the whole application. So it's also from your personal statement and recommendation and all that. So that's the usual comments on standardized tests. But if you actually want to go to, for example, Ivy League or top universities, what are the what do you call it? What are the average scores that would be great to apply to those universities, both the TOEFL and GRE? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me ask real quick. What do you want to study?
Public policy and international affairs.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, Neta, for the question. So TOEFL or IELTS? So basically, TOEFL is 100% accepted by the US. So if you know that you're just going to study, like all of the campuses that you want to go to is in the US, and you have not taken neither TOEFL or IELTS, maybe the safe answer for that, you can take TOEFL, because TOEFL is from the US. 100% of campuses will accept TOEFL. However, if you are familiar already with IELTS, you can also definitely take IELTS, because it's very common where a lot of universities in the US accept IELTS as well. But we definitely want to be very careful, because we see that there are still a few number of programs in the US where they do not receive, do not accept IELTS. And then the next question, sometimes people kind of like also ask, so if for example, the universities that I want to go to accept both TOEFL and IELTS, which one should I take? I heard from people that TOEFL is easier, but then I have from like my other friend, IELTS is easier. There is no right answer. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. And even if like you heard from either myself or Santika and say, I'm not going to say that, but I mean, if you heard one of us say that, oh, TOEFL is easier, don't believe us either, because there is no right answer for this. Some other people believe that TOEFL is easier for them. Maybe that just because they found it more familiar with American English compared to do a British English. So I think in this case, you will want to kind of like, and again, it's not necessary for you to take both tests. I know some people go that length where, you know what, I'm going to take both, and then I'll just like see whatever the campus is actually, accept it. I mean, if you just have like some extra money laying around and you want to take like both, by all means, please do. You can definitely do that. But I mean, it's very unnecessary for you to take both tests. So I think in this case, if you have never taken both tests, either test, you can kind of like do some mock tests online and then just kind of like try to familiarize yourself which type of English that you are more familiar with. Is it TOEFL, which is an American English, or IELTS, which is a British English? So that's that. And then with the GRE, and then the next question would be about the GRE. I love talking about this one because yes, that's correct that although the majority of programs, graduate programs in the US require you to take GRE, but oftentimes they are actually not mention anything about the scores that they require. But what you can do is you can try to find what is their student profile from previous academic year. So usually they have it on the website. If they don't provide that, you can actually contact them and just ask them like, hey, what is your student profile, like your average GRE score? So that means, it's the average of GRE scores that they accepted the applicants to that university. And then you also mentioned about like, if you want to apply to, like a highly selective universities like Ivy Leagues and stuff like that, what would be like I want to say like the safe score? So with the GRE, usually the question that I ask people would be, how are you strong in your math? So as long as you are somewhat confident in your math, I would say that you are pretty safe in terms of like the GRE. Why? Because with the GRE, there's the GRE verbal and there's the GRE quant. A lot of us here in Indonesia, because English is not our first language, a lot of us found it very challenging to get a, good score in GRE verbal. So that's why I ask people, if you can actually do really good in quant, we can pretty much like, say that it's safe because we are Asian. Apparently our math is just like really strong. So what will be the safe score? So if you are aiming for highly selective universities, on your GRE quant, you want to aim for 160, between 160 to full score. So the full score for each band is 170, right? For quant and verbal. So for quant is 170, and then you want to aim for 160 minimum. If you can aim for 165, that's even better. I know it's like really close to perfect score, but I'm saying this very easily because I actually see a lot of our advisees can reach that score easily. I'm not saying that they're not taking, like prep or something like that, but I see that numbers often. I heard about that numbers often. I mean, I even have like one advisee that got like a full score in quant. It's definitely possible for us. For the verbal, you want to aim at least 150 out of 160. 70. A lot of our advisees in terms of the GRE verbal is range 150. If you can get 155, that's even better. So yeah, hopefully I answer your question. Look forward to talking to you in person. Well, not in person, virtually, one-on-one.
Right.
Thanks, Neta.
You can find of course, the Zoom meeting ID and the email in the chat box because you're in Zoom. But for those of you who, have, not in Zoom and you are wondering and you just tune in, I will repeat it again, but after this last question with Vina, because we only have about 10 minutes and, I think 8 minutes for that. So yeah, Vina, our last question is about statement of purpose. I think this question is FAQ, super FAQ. So this one is from Sahil in Zoom. Can you please share some tips about how to answer the application prompts or motivational letter or SOP for graduate admission? What type of language should we use, and should it always be like telling a story? There you go.
All right. Thank you, Santika, for save the best question at the very last. Because in previous events, when we did some kind of like Q&A like this, I always tell people that when I get that question, like how to write a good US submission essay, I never know where to start, because that would be the type of question where there's no way for me to be able to answer that within like a short amount of time. We are going to, not this month, but hopefully next month, I'm going to have a specific session on that. So please stay tuned, but I'm going to try to cover this for the next 5 minutes. So basically, you definitely want to really understand the questions first. Oftentimes, the kind of questions, so let's say you want to apply for 5 universities, right? A lot of us thought that, if I'm applying to 5 universities, that means I'm going to write five different essays. But oftentimes, actually, the kind of questions that they ask, if you read it just like one time, and then you compare it with the other universities that you want to apply, you may conclude that, they're asking different questions. But copy paste that question, put it into create like an Excel sheet or something like that for you to always come back on, and then really understand. And then if you want to have a one-on-one session, because of course my favorite part is reading essay for sure. And so if you're kind of confused about how to answer these questions, let me know, because oftentimes if you want to apply for 5 campus, although they're asking somewhat different questions, they are pretty much asking the same questions. I know it's weird. Maybe you kind of no, but I'm pretty sure they're asking different questions. Let me know. They might ask different questions, but the very general type of essay, for those of you who wants to do master's degree, is what we call the statement of purpose, or statement or academic statement of purpose. They actually use a lot of different terms from one university to another. A lot of people ask me, hey, Tina, can you read my motivation letter? Motivation letter is actually not a term used in the US. It's actually a term used in Europe, and we want to be careful there, because the kind of essays for the US and for other countries outside the US, including Europe and Asia, is so different. And I'm not trying to scare you guys or anything, but you definitely want to prioritize your essay to the US as early as possible. Because oftentimes we thought that when it comes to essay writing, that's definitely something that I can write a week before the deadlines, right? Because a lot of us thought when it comes to essay writing, it's about telling your story, that is pretty much based in your resume. So what I can tell you right now is, on your essay, you do not want to recite or repeat anything that is already on your CV. That's something that you can actually, understand now. But let's see here. What type of language should we use? What type of language do we use? Well, obviously English, if I'm understanding your question correctly. Should it always be like telling a story? Yes. So what the admissions committee are looking for when it comes to essay is, yes, they're looking for a story, but not merely a story about, hey, my name is Fina. I graduated from University of la 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 with a GPA of da 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 da. I started working with Education USA since 2015, and I've been doing advising with people, and I created like this amount of events, and please accept me. That's definitely not what we want to put in the essay. What happened with other countries is that is definitely the kind of essay that you want to write, but not for the US. For the US, it's all about what you want to do in the future. So a lot of us, and so this is why in step 1, I always start with trying to get to know you better. Why do you want to study in the US? And then you said, oh, because currently with the Industry 4.0, the president has been saying that da 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 da, but there is this one skill that a lot of Indonesians has been lacking of, and then I would like to fix that. So by the time I come back to Indonesia, I would like to work alongside the government. Do you see like how it's talking about what we're going to do in the future? And that's the kind of story that we want to put in the essay. I'm going to stop there because if not, I can basically talk about this for hours and hours. So, but then again, I promise you that we're going to have this specific session hopefully next month. So yeah, so please stay tuned on that. I basically, like have a good presentation slides specifically on essay, and the feedback that we got from a lot of people, when we had this kind of session back in America, has been always very positive. A lot of people kind of like just by attending that session and hearing me talking for an hour and a half. And yes, it's going to give you a heads up, it's going to be an hour and a half. But maybe with just going virtual, I'm going to talk for an hour. I will try my best to do that. A lot of people said that they understand better, and they actually, to the point, like they know what to write on their first draft. So yeah, thank you so much for all these questions. For those of you where the questions have not been answered, I really apologize. To be completely honest with you guys, I am not expecting to receive this many questions. I haven't even covered the questions that I have on my list. But let us know if you found these sessions helpful, because we can definitely make it probably like on a weekly basis or something like that. Please, yeah, give us feedback. We always want to hear from you guys if you found this type of sessions helpful, or maybe you are looking for, you're expecting us to cover another type of topics. Let us know, email us, reach out to us via Zoom. But thank you guys so much for attending this session, and I really hope you learn a lot from this session.
All right, sweet. Thank you, Vina. So for those of you who don't have your answer yet, so from YouTube, Firdaus, Aban Kedo, and then Anan Samla, Fajar Salami, Muhammad Solihin, you can email us. Not only for you guys who don't have your answer yet, anybody can just shoot us an email or pop up in our Zoom meeting. So I'm going to read it again, just in case you don't catch it the first time I have it. So our email is jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org, and our Zoom meeting ID is 276-124-396. We are available between 1 until 9 p.m. every day, except when we are having this kind of session. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching and tuning in to our Zoom and every other platforms. I hope to see you in our next event, which is tomorrow. Again, we will have a sharing session with one of the Indonesian students who successfully got LPB and accepted to one of the highly selective universities. So it will be interesting. I will see you guys again. Thank you, and I'll hand it over to James again. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Fina and Santika, for the informative session. It's always great learning more about education in the United States. Now, earlier in the event, we asked you guys which US university is holding a series of challenges to tackle the COVID-19 crisis. And the correct answer is A, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Shout out to Fifi Olpita for answering correctly. Thank you. To everyone who has participated, don't forget to tune in next time and catch a chance to get a shout out from us. Now you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Don't worry, you can send your event proposal to us by visiting our website at www.atamerica.or.id, select Create a Program, and click on Collaborate with us. All proposals coming to us will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, there for all our weekly event updates sent straight to your inbox. That wraps this episode. It's been fun, everyone, but we have to say goodbye for now. Follow our Instagram on Twitter, Twitter, and Facebook at AT America for all our event updates, fun contents, and so much more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining. Again, my name is James. See you next time on Ed America TV.